Hey guys, so you know that dress from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? Well, I made it. And the best part is, I made it for under $15. I mean, I think we've all seen that movie and been like, that's the prettiest dress I've ever seen. So I had to make it. And I think it turned out pretty good. I love the buttery yellow fabric. And guys, I am no expert at sewing. I'm really new to it, and I was able to make this, so can you. So let's start by cutting out our pieces. So I wanted to show you all the pieces cut out. We've got the skirt, we've got the top, and then the belt. There's two pieces there. The back straps on the left there, and then the trim up at the top. There's two pieces we'll have to cut out. So here I'm just cutting out my top piece. Pretty easy, just trace around and cut. So here we've got our back straps on the very left, our trim in the middle, and our waistband on the very right. The center pieces in the left piece are cut on the fold, so you can see they're double the size of the template or the pattern. And then the one on the right is just cut out the same size as it. I already made one of the back straps, as you can see here. And I'm just going to make another one on the fold. You cut it. And then do that with the trim as well. And then just cut out the waistband. And again, here's what all your pieces should be looking like when they're cut out. I don't know what happened to my audio here, but I am making another back strap. Basically what you want to do is sew along the top there and down one side, leaving the bottom side open because we're going to flip it inside out. So now you want to pull your fabric inside out, or I guess right side out, so that it's a strap. It's very slippery, so you can just do it with your hand. It just takes a little bit of time.
2,000 years later.
Now press your fabric and you have a completed strap. Okay, so now we're going to be making a quarter circle skirt. So fold your fabric in half so that it's like a triangle shape. And then you want to measure your own waist where you want the skirt to start, the top of it. And then guys, I found the perfect online equation plugin for finding the radius of your skirt here, and I'll link it down below. It's so easy where you don't have to actually do math. So you'll take your measurement of your waist, plug it into that equation online. It'll give you your radius, and you use that radius measurement with your measuring tape to make multiple points along your skirt so that you can cut it out, as I did here. Okay, now to cut out the bottom of the skirt, you're going to measure from where you measured your waist to the ground for the length of your skirt, and you're going to make multiple points along the bottom like we did at the top so we can cut it out. I would say just do more fabric rather than less if you have it, because you can always hem it, but you can't add more fabric. But first, rewatch the movie for the millionth time. On the side of our top, we want to do a zigzag stitch just to prevent any fraying, and then we'll hem it later. For the armholes, you're going to put the top fabric good side down, and you're going to fold down the hem once, and then one more time over that, and you're going to sew along that close to the outer edge. Now we're going to attach the skirt, the waistband, and the top. So you're going to fold your fabric in half and notch both the waistband and the skirt, and then you can line them up so that you know exactly where the center is. Pin it and sew along that line. And I have pinned these fabrics together, good sides together or shiny sides together. And now that they're sewn together, we can add our top. We're going to put that shiny side down and make sure the center lines up with our center of the skirt and waistband. Then take your second waistband piece, shiny side down or good sides down, and make sure it's centered and pin it all together. And sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Make sure to try on your dress multiple times through this process and make sure you're on the right track. But everything looks good so far. This is the inside of the dress, and there's that second waistband that we can fold down and sew to hide all our seams. You also want to hem on the sides here of the skirt. Just do what we did again with the armholes. Fold down once, fold down again, and sew along that edge. And do that on both sides. Now back to the inside of our dress, we're going to fold and pin that waistband, and then we're going to do something called stitching in the ditch. So now you can see I have the good side up, so the front of my dress, and we're actually sewing on the top of the dress, and we're trying to sew as close to that waistband as we can in the ditch, as they say. This allows us to hide our seam, but it also makes sure that the waistband in the back is sewn down. This is what the inside of the dress looks like, and you can see the stitch, it just grabbed that inside waistband. Try on your dress again and mark where you want it to come together in the back, and then sew down the length of it to that bottom corner. Trim I'm talking about is up at the top there. It attaches in the center of the chest and will go around the shoulders. Take your trim piece and fold it in half and press it with an iron. Now each side should be 1.5 inches. This is because you'll have 1 inch of trim and 1/2 seam allowance. So you're going on each side to fold down just 1/2 inch of seam allowance, and you're going to press it. I lost footage of me attaching the trim to the dress, but I had this extra mock-up fabric, so I'll show you here. You basically pin it, and you're going to sew on that top line that we pressed. You want to make sure you leave 1/2 inch in the center, though, because we need some material to sew our two trim together. You'll see later. But anyway, I sewed along that line, and if you flip it over, this is what it looks like, which I think it looks pretty good. A freaking spider just ran in my strap. Oh. Oh God, it's in there. Get out. No. I might as well just pick it up. Oh. I'm gonna go try and throw him outside. Wish me luck. If we see a spider run out of this thing, I'm gonna cry. But I think he's gone. I don't know where he's gone to, but yeah, he's not on this. Not today, Mr. Spider, not today. Anywho, now back to sewing your dress. Attach the other trim piece and sew the same way you did before. Alright, so now we have to attach both our trim pieces together. So you're going to flip your piece around, and we want to sew good sides together. So take that extra 1/2 inch we left on each side, and you're going to sew to that first line there. And this is what it should be looking like. So flip your top over and we're going to sew down the rest of the trim here. So it's the same thing as the belt before the waistband. We're going to stitch in the ditch. So it's going to grab that seam there, but we're actually stitching on the top there and as close to that trim as possible, that line. For your 1/2 inch side seams there on the edge, you're going to fold it down and then fill the top. Here, I'll show you closer. You're going to fold it in that 1/2 inch and then fold that top 1/2 inch seam allowance down on top of it and pin it. And that cut on my thumb, no, it's not a spider bite. Thank God. With those edges folded there, you're just going to fold down your trim and pin it. And then you're going to sew in the ditch on the front of your piece. So here's the front of my piece. And I'm just going to be sewing in that ditch, trying to get my seam in that ditch without catching the actual trim. And just go as close as you can. And then here is the finished piece you can see. So that's the inside. The stitch is on the trim. And then here on the front, it is hidden under there. For the rest of your straps on the trim, you're just going to tuck everything in, pin it, and sew along that line. And this is what everything looks like after it is done, which I think it looks pretty good. So sewing darts can be a little bit intimidating, but it wasn't too bad, and this was my first time sewing darts. So what I did was try on the dress and just kind of find naturally where I would want it to be more cinched and more fitted to my body. And I just pinned it while it was on, and then I added these other 2 pins so that it kind of makes a triangle, and then you try and duplicate that on the other side. And we're just basically going to be sewing up that line to make a little triangle. So I drew a red line here to show you guys where I'm going to sew, and then that line there is the punch hole line, and it will let me know when to lower my seam length all the way down. Decreasing your stitch length at the end of the dart will help it be secure because we're not back stitching at the end of the dart. So here I'm going to back stitch and then continue, and then I hit that line and I'll just sew right off the edge. Your 2 remaining strings tie in a knot to complete the dart, and this is what it looks like. Okay, finally time to attach those straps in the back. So I didn't get footage of me attaching them here, these straps, to the waistband because it was a little difficult. This is where it would have been nice to have that extra 1/2 inch that I forgot about when I attached my skirt to my top. But basically you just put good sides together, and hopefully you left that 1/2 inch, and then you sew on each side. But for attaching the top of the straps, it's a little different. So try on your dress, measure where you want it to be, and you're just going to sew along that line there. Then you're going to fold your top sides just like you were hemming them, and you're going to sew along that whole line there. This ensures that your straps will not fall off because they're double sewn down.